Water is not an environmental issue alone. It's not a development issue. It's not a societal access issue. It's everything all at once. If we can't address water and ensure that we are able to provide water for nature, water for people, water for development, all of the gains and the progress that have been made over the last few decades could be put at risk.
Water-related risks pose growing challenges to Cambodia's development ambitions. As climate and hydrological conditions change, factors such as unpredictable weather patterns, sedimentation in reservoirs, and changing river flows are contributing to growing water-related challenges, including risks affecting the Tonle Sap and the communities and livelihoods that depend on it.
There are folks who say that maybe we won't see the Tonle Sap pulse actually take place in the future if we don't have the types of flows that we need, right?
That warning comes from Matthew Edwardsen, who leads a new Australian-funded program called ACP for Climate. ACP for Climate supports Cambodia in progressing its climate adaptation priorities by strengthening more inclusive and climate-resilient water systems that respond to the needs of communities, agriculture, ecosystems, and Cambodia's continued development. Could you briefly introduce yourself and your role in the ACP for Climate program?
Yeah, hi, Chantal. It's great to be here with Kiripost. So my name is Matthew Edwardsen. I have been here in Cambodia since 2018, working to support the Cambodian government, Cambodian communities, and on environment, water, conservation projects. I'm now leading the ACP for Climate program, so Australia-Cambodia Partnership for Climate Resilience. And this is an exciting new program that is funded by the Australian government to really support Cambodia to transform the water sector and help the country achieve its vision for 2050.
Okay, for listeners unfamiliar with it, what is ACP for Climate and why is it important for Cambodia?
First and foremost, we're working closely with the Ministry of Water Resources and Meteorology. That's our primary counterpart. And we're going to be working with them to help update a number of key water policies. Secondly, we're going to be working at the community level, out in the subnational parts of the country, across the provinces, to really understand what's working well on making communities and districts, communes, whatever they may be, more resilient to climate from the perspective of water. How can we ensure that water meets all of their needs? So we're working very closely with women, with disabled people, with indigenous populations to make sure that the project entirely supports their requirement. And we will respond directly to the needs that they've identified through a large grant facility on the project. So we'll be providing direct financial support. We'll also use that facility to bring in technical expertise. So it's really going out, listening, hearing what people say they need support on, identifying gaps that may exist, filling those gaps and providing that support, and then making sure that that is fed back up into the national approach and then filtered out across the entire country to not just those communities, but communities writ large who may need access to clean water. They may need better access to water to irrigate their crops.
This program is funded by the Australian government. What are Australia's key goals in supporting it?
So first and foremost, Australia is a development partner of Cambodia, and they see climate resilience as a key development priority, along with the Cambodian government. Secondly, climate change could pose a regional stability issue. So it's critical that support is provided to Cambodia and other countries in the region along the lines of climate to improve stability within the region. Australia, as you know, is the driest inhabited continent on Earth as well. So there's a lot of understanding of the impacts of climate in Australia. And also how to manage water in that type of an environment. So there's a lot of technical expertise and significant thought that can be brought to bear from the Australian side on how to address climate with a focus on water. Australia has also had a long-standing history of supporting water-related issues here in Cambodia, so ACP for Climate really builds on that legacy.
What is overall of your assessment of the situation related to water and climate change in Cambodia?
Yeah, I mean, this project is here because what you've just outlined is a major problem, right? And this is something that the government recognizes. This is something that communities recognize. And so there's no simple answer to the question that you just posed. And I think that's probably the first step, right? Is this recognition, and I think there is broad recognition across the government, across the donors, across the private sector, that we need to have a coordinated response.
So if we don't take action soon or today, what would be the consequences?
Water is not an environmental issue alone. It's not a development issue. It's not a societal access issue. It's everything all at once. If we can't address water and ensure that we are able to provide water for nature, water for people, water for development, all of the gains and the progress that have been made over the last few decades could be put at risk.
And what message do you have for young people on climate action?
And this is a young country, right? I'm not young anymore, but this is the future. And I do believe that the future is very bright, and there is a lot of opportunity. There are a lot of challenges, right? And I think it's important for us to talk about these issues. And so I'm grateful for the opportunity that we have to do so today on that. But more importantly, I think it's about action, right? And action can take form in many different ways. It can be studying a certain type of topic at school that you think motivates you. It can be going out and volunteering. It can be understanding and listening to people about what their needs are and then helping them to achieve that. What I've seen since I first came to Cambodia in 2018 is a huge interest in the youth, in particular in Cambodia, in really understanding what is happening in the country and how they can act to improve upon it. So we see a lot more volunteerism happening in Cambodia. I think you see a lot more interest, especially post-COVID, in what's happening in the countryside, what are communities doing.
I would like to ask you to maybe give us a last message overall about Cambodia's future. If you look at Cambodia from outside, how is Cambodia doing in terms of dealing with impacts of climate change?
And so I think the future is bright for Cambodia. I think there will be challenges with climate change for Cambodia and the entire world. But the Cambodian people are very resilient. They are so capable of adapting to difficult situations and overcoming them and being stronger. And so I think the same will happen with climate. I think the same will happen as we talk about these issues with water. I think the people will find a way to ensure that prosperity will continue. I don't think it will be simple, hence this complicated program that we've just discussed. I think it's going to take a lot of coordination, a lot of compromise, a lot of discussion. But I do think we can chart a path forward that will ensure that the ecosystems that we depend upon to thrive and grow will be maintained. The economic growth and development that we all want to see will also continue to move forward. And we put the positive outcomes of those discussions into action, which is critical. And that's what we're trying to do on our project. Not just talk, but action behind that talk.
Matthew, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your insights on ACP for Climate, on the growing partnership between Australia and Cambodia on climate resilience. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in to episode 5 of Kiripost Australia series. Stay tuned for the next episode of the series.